We had a barbecue lunch today. It was delicious. We get it from a place called Porky Butts here in Omaha. They have some of the best barbecue around, at least here in Omaha, Nebraska anyway. And we did that to celebrate a record that we achieved, which was actually 4,844 points. So those are production points. We call them barcodes. And what those are is a measurement of the output that the production staff does. Now, why is that important? Well, I actually have two quick stories that I'll tell you as to why we measure those now. The first one is I was just out doing my walk around. You know, we have like 38 people here at Fire Sprint. And I came up to one of the guys, his name is Chad, and I said, you know, Chad, how are things going? How do you feel? You know, I'm just checking in, want to see how you're doing. And he says, oh, I'm doing great, Gene, thanks for asking. And then he paused for a second and he kind of looked at me and he says, am I doing a good job? And it broke my heart. Like I literally almost like shed a tear for that. I'm not trying to be funny. It was like, my gosh, this guy is out here and he's, forgive me, busting his ass. He's working hard, he's going through this process, and he doesn't know if he's doing a good job or not, right? And yeah, it was a heartbreaking moment for me. It's like, this isn't right. Like this, we're not doing this right here at Fire Sprint. And then a couple of weeks later, we were sitting in one of our production meetings. We have, we call them level 10 meetings. They're from the book Traction. And our scheduling manager, Michael, pulls up the list, and we're going through the numbers of how many late jobs we had and you know, all the various things that we're tracking. And we had a huge number of late jobs that week. And Michael says, it was a terrible week, you guys. We had a really bad week. We shipped a lot of jobs late, higher than normal. And it's like, man, that really stinks. But it really felt like everybody was just, they were working so hard, right? And it just didn't connect. And so we went back through the data and we started looking at square footage and jobs shipped and orders shipped and packages that went out and everything else. And it turns out it was a record freaking week, right? Like we had produced more, the production team had produced more than they ever have by any measure we have. Best week we've ever had. And you've got the leadership looking at it, and we're in there having this conversation, myself included, saying, dang it was a bad week, because we were just measuring late jobs. Well, the challenge is with the production floor, we can get more work in a day. You can go to firesprint.com and order. We get more work in a day than we have the ability to produce. And that's not production's fault. What production needs to do is they need to be thinking to themselves, okay, how do I do more today than I did yesterday? How do I do better every day? If we do get busy, how do we break records, right? But then if it's not enough, it's not necessarily Chad or Michael's fault because like they didn't have enough equipment or we didn't schedule enough hours or whatever. And so we want to measure, this is a long story, but we want to measure the actual output of production. You may be dealing with these types of challenges in your business where we're trying to measure the actual output of production. The way we do it here at Fire Sprint is we measure what we call barcodes or points. And a barcode is a board. So it's a 4x8 sheet, you know, filled with different files or whatnot. It also could be a single banner, or it might be a batch of stickers. So generally a 4 foot by 4 foot section of stickers. And we consider all of those a barcode or a point. And so we measure the points. So right now our current goal is 5,000. We did 4,487 last week, but 2 weeks ago we broke a record. This is a Monday through Friday goal. We broke a record of 4,844. And that is why we're celebrating barbecue. Now, if you stick with me for just another minute, sorry, I know this is a long video, I'll explain to you how we got this far. So there's this inclination that we have that's to try there's this inclination that we get to try and come up with a goal and a measurement all in one. Well, it's really hard to do that, especially with production floor. So the first thing that we did was just start tracking things, right? Just anything that you think might be a reasonable measurement for tracking output in an area or a department or whatever, you start tracking it. And we started to realize over time that when we track these batches together, whether it's boards, banners, or groups of stickers that we're producing, and we start tracking those together and we add them up, we started noticing that it started to get really consistent. Maybe one day it would spike in an area or one day it would drop in an area, but we started to see like over and over again, in a 5-day period, we get 4,000 of these done, kind of regardless of how the workflow worked and came in. And so that taught us, oh, okay, this is a measurement that's like balancing out for the amount of work that we can do in a week. It's irrelevant of how much we sell, it's how much work we can do in a week, because these were busy periods, so we're being oversold. And so then we start setting goals against that. It's like, okay, We've got 4 weeks in a row. We've done between 3,900 and 4,100 points per week. All right, let's set a goal for 4,200 points. So we set this goal for 4,200 points. We hit it, we buy everybody lunch. And our most recent goal was 4,500 points, as I said. We hit it, we bought everybody lunch. It's been a great celebration of that. And we're doing a really, you can tell, it's just a whiteboard, very makeshift. For a sign company, maybe we'd have something a lot more fancy, but this works. It works really well, and it helps us tell our team, you guys are doing a good job. Sales does an excellent job, our marketing department does an excellent job. Sometimes they oversell the production floor. We have to step away from that and look at the production floor and say, you guys are killing it. You guys are kicking ass. And we do that with a whiteboard and barbecue. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you like this kind of content, specifically this video, please like, comment, or subscribe. It's going to tell us to make more just like it. If you would like to work with us, we would love to work with you. Please check us out at firesprint.com.